right, let's get expectations now for Nigeria's fixed income market. And joining us, we have Mr. Chuka Wachuku, Group Head, Balance Sheet Management at United Bank for Africa. Great to have you. Good morning.
Morning, laddie.
Yes, and happy new month. Yes, it's December. Talk to me about November, for the fixed income market. What trends did you observe, and what are you seeing for this new month?
Well, just as CBN has indicated, by increasing the monetary policy rate, and of course, the increase in inflation, investors obviously demanded for higher yield. And that's what we saw in the fixed income market, especially on the T-bills market. Seeing the yield moved between 150 basis points to about 250 basis points. So we've seen yield moved from the beginning of November, from the long end of the curve, which is the 1 year, moved around 21% to 23.5%. That was the last auction rate for the 1 year. And so this trend will continue going into December.
That was the last hike for 2024, got that 25 basis points. Going into 2025, do you think we're going to feel the impact of that 25 basis points in the fixed income market?
I think that the market has priced it in. I think that the reason for this hike actually is because of the inflation figure that came out. The last inflation figure came out at 33.88%, and that's obviously, I believe, that affected the MPC decision. If you look at the trend, it's obvious that the rate hike regime, or period, if I might use the word, has actually have been moderated, and I believe that the MPC in the next meeting will probably be looking at either retain or drop rate due to some of the policies that have been put in place, and then seeing that some of these policies are working. Gradually we are beginning to see the end of the inflation, a rise in inflation. By the time some of these policies start working, which obviously have started working, but of course it's difficult for one to feel the impact now due to long period of hike. And so I believe that first quarter of next year, second quarter of next year, MPC will begin to reduce the monetary policy rates.
Right, we'll definitely be looking out for that. But how would you describe liquidity in the month of November, and what are you seeing for December?
So with the indication again from CBN indicating that they will continue to tight, liquidity obviously will continue to be one of the major points. The system liquidity has always been moderated due to the inflation, and so I do not see anything that significant change in terms of liquidity in the system. So as it is now, this liquidity in the system is greatly controlled by the CBN, which of course rightly so due to inflation, and so nothing will definitely change going into December and then end of the year. Last week, FAC came in, about 1.2 trillion came in, and then as I speak to you now, virtually all is out of the system. So that is how how much CBN see liquidity in the system as a major problem, and then they will continue to mop up.
All right, let's look at the Naira, how the Naira performed in November. We see the first trading day of November did close at 1,666 Naira to the dollar. Then we fast forward to the end of November there, 1,672 Naira. So we're seeing a drop there about 0.36%. So looking at December, what's your outlook for the Naira, and is it still demand outpacing supply that we saw play out in November?
Yeah, so what has happened so far, just like every other aspect of the economy, it's all about demand and supply. And so when the demand outweighs supply, then of course you see that the price will go up. And then when when the supply outweighs demand, you see that the price will drop. So looking at the past 2 months, October, November, we see that quite a lot of inflows came into the system, and so we saw the exchange rate maintain the stability around 1600. And so with the with the current, with the next year budget, which the federal government has pegged around 1400. I see that the CBN going into the new year will obviously we try to maintain that price stability within that range. And so, yeah, December is also a month where you expect a lot of spending, and then of course on the flip side, it also works on in our favor because of course we have people coming to loved ones coming from abroad, and then of course they bring in some of this foreign exchange, and then of course once we have inflows, and then that will also help to temper the the demand. So I do not see it go beyond 1,600 as it is now, or at most maybe 1,700, 750.
All right, I guess dirty December will also impact the markets with all of that inflow, we're expecting. But we saw the first drop in Nigeria's foreign reserves last week after, months of accretion. What are you expecting for our FX reserves?
So, well, the drop is actually quite minimal. But if you watch what has happened, like again over the past month, you see that CBN actually maintained the volume. We haven't seen much drop, neither have we seen much increase. Part of it also has to do with the Naira denominated, the dollar bond, which CBN has just concluded. Of course, that aided into the reserve, help to boost the reserve. Though we are not producing enough, and then of course that's on the oil side now, and then we are not saving it. We're not saving enough. We're not earning enough. We're not saving enough. So that would have increased if that has been the case. But then I believe that within this range is currently around 39 billion. I don't see it go beyond this range within the next 2 months, or neither do I see it go significantly lower than this, even though CBN is also trying to defend the Naira using the the foreign reserve as case may be sometimes. So, but again, I think that they've been able to maintain a bit of stability, and then if we increase the oil production, of course, we see increase in the reserve.
Right. I got so much to look out for in the month of December. But thank you so much for breaking it down for us, Mr. Chuka Nwachukwu, the Group Head, Balance Sheet Management at the UBA. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ladi.
All right, that's the show today. That's for Business Morning. Markets are open now. We'll give you a snapshot of what's playing out at intraday. That's at 1 p.m. on Business Incorporated. I'm Ladi Williams. I hand things over to the Sunrise Daily team.